Hello everyone, I am Dr. Abhinanda Gautam and you are in the session 3 of video series Leadership in Business. Today's session is Change in Leadership. Before I start, I would request to take a pause for a moment and think yourself as a consumer. If given a choice when you are tired, hungry, came back from your office, don't want to cook, would you like to go to a restaurant and have your food, or would you like to order through Uber Eats? If given a choice, would you like to watch a movie on Netflix or through Amazon Prime, or you would like to go to a theater and enjoy the ambience? If given a choice, before buying an electronic device, would you like to have a fair comparison between the products through online mode, or you would like to go for window shopping? If given a choice, would you like to further your studies or learn something new through online platforms like LinkedIn Learning, Upgrad, Udemy? There are a lot of brands. Or you would like to pursue your studies through contact learning, go to a college either on Saturdays or Sundays or on a full-time basis. Now, if you think that you prefer the online mode more than the contact mode, this session is exactly for you. We talk about changes happening in today's scenario. We just considered ourselves as a consumer, and I'm sure that most of the options you would also like to go for online because of its convenience, because it's Corona period, we would like to still practice social distancing, and because it saves a lot of time and energy. And that is why we all are going for our changes in behavior as a consumer. Now, if we go back to an organization, they are facing maximum changes in order to bring those changes to our lives. Who are the people that gets mostly impacted? They are the employees and their leaders. So the C-suite employees or the chief level employees are the one that have to practice their organizational power, their formal power, and their reference power, their expert power, in order to influence and inspire employees so that they face least resistance to change in order to serve the customers in total. So today we will talk how leaders must practice their behaviors in order to bring seamless and flawless changes in the organization. If we go ahead, we'll see what is the session going to cover today. We will understand reasons for resisting change, the psychological processes involved in making major changes, how to implement a major change in an organization, and understand the characteristics of a learning organization. And last but not the least, how leaders can increase learning and innovation. As I've said, that the changes in teams and organizations are because of these 4 broad generalizations: roles or attitudes, technologies, strategy, economics, or people. As we all know, the attitudes or roles of people are changing because of various factors, as we have discussed right now, that most of the aspects are either turning data-driven, either turning, or I would say the skyrocketing demand of data-based research is in. And that is why intuition-based information or decision-making is not helping out the leaders. And that is why it's important to understand the roles, the changing roles and attitudes of not only the consumers, but also the employees in the organization. Gone are the days when we only used to talk about performance appraisal. It's changing now. We have to go ahead with performance reviews, performance management. And gone are the days when we only talked about employee development. It is about employee engagement nowadays. Technology has taken all the shapes and sizes today, right from cobots, collaborative robots, to social robots, right from artificial intelligence to cloud computing. And that is why it's changing almost on a routine basis. And these are the aspects which has to play an important role in building great strategic initiatives. And that is why the strategy of any organization has to be aligned in terms of the change that are happening in today's world. Economics or people, as we all know, most of the nations are suffering an economic downturn because of COVID-19. And the aspects are right from the US great nations to the developing economies like India. Now, the aspect is that how do we manage people, or how do we keep our economies running by keeping the philosophy of great leadership in organizations? And that is what we are going to talk about in today's session. The first aspect is change processes. As you can see, I just discussed that the processes is mostly because of the change in people, change in leadership styles, leadership behavior, technology, and mostly how strategies are getting changed in terms of getting the organization still running. Or how do we execute a flawless running of businesses in the organization? Taking into scenario, the shopping behavior has taken a huge change in last decade, not even a decade, almost 5 years. The online shopping was never a choice before a decade, but now a huge chunk of shoppers don't go for window shopping anymore. So this window shopping is only through online, and that is why the kind of changes that are happening has to have a foresightedness in order to keep growing or stepping up the game to remain in the business. I would give you an example, like just walkout technology that was used by Alibaba before. Amazon has started massively in the US with the brand Amazon Go. Now your card, your cell phone, and the store is all connected. You don't have to stand in the queue. You don't have to stand at the till right to pay. You just get your things in the lorry and just walk out. So it's all about sensor-based algorithm. It's all about data-driven aspects. So that is why technology is also playing a huge role. So in terms of change processes, these are the major aspects like people, strategy, and technology that would play a long role or a huge role in the long run. So in terms of change processes, if we ask people, because each one of us, whether we agree or not, whether we believe it or not, we say that, yeah, we are okay to change. Yeah, we embrace change. Yes, we can adapt change as easily as possible. If we say that who wants to change, not many people would say yes. But if we ask who wants change, everybody would say yes. So the thing is that how do we create or strike a balance in between those two sentences? Who wants change and who wants to change, right? So and there is what the delicate balance is being stricken by great leaders in the society. So that is why it's important that we understand that what are the stages in a change process that a leader, before practicing leadership or before talking to followers or before inspiring or influencing followers, must know that these are the three phases that a follower goes through or an organization goes through. Now, the first is unfreeze stage. We all have learned something so far. We all are qualified. We all have earned some degrees, right? We all have earned some certificates in our lives. And we all have gained some knowledge. That the human tendency says that whatever we have learned so far gets frozen, right? And that this is what it is. If I ask you Maslow's theory of motivation or a hierarchy needs, then you would say five level, because those 5 levels are ingrained in our minds. And it is important, in order to learn something new, in order to adapt something in terms of bringing change, first of all, it's important that we unfreeze, that we know the art of unlearning what we have learned so far, so that new knowledge can be accepted and adapted. And that is what is unfreezing stage. For example, that it is very important to create a hot environment to melt that ice block. Sometimes that hot environment could be massive changes, sometimes could be negative reinforcement as well, but new information, sometimes information overload. Leaders use that. Do you know this is happening? Do you know that is happening? So showing evidence to the people that how new knowledge is taking a new shape in the organizations. And that is what is the change phase, when you unfreeze what you have learned, and then you put your suitable hot temperature for melting the ice, that is where the learning happens. Now new learning is happening. The leaders must support and train the employees to embrace the change. And the third thing is refreezing the change. Changes that are happening takes new shape. People have embraced the new working environment. And again, as I said, the human tendency says that would also get frozen after some time. These are the stages in the change process. Change process is not easy at all. And it is said that Kurt Levin's model is one of the major models that is being applied by most of the leaders that want to practice change or implement change in the organization. I would go forward, not taking much time, that stages in reaction to a change. This happens when people get confronted to something shocking. For example, a marriage end, a divorce, a death, an accident, or retrenchment, a job loss. Then people get confronted with a setback. And that is why it gets very difficult to come back to normal. It gets very difficult to get over that phase. And this is what is called as Kubler-Ross change curve. It says that when we get confronted with that kind of a shock, then initially we are in denial mode. No, this person has not left the company. No, this person has not died. No, I have not lost my family member. Something like that. So we or the person that has confronted such shocking incident is in a denial mode. And then it's frustration. When you realize that it's right, you try to bring that person back, you try to bring your colleagues back, you try to gain whatever you have lost. Then it's the depression mode, wherein you are at the weakest point of your emotions. And after that, we practice resilience, right? And there is where the role of a leader comes, right? That you need to bounce back, you need to experiment, you need to decide. And as I always say, if you have decided something, the universe conspires to make it happen. So that kind of coaching, mentoring, holding the hand of employees that are going through depression phase, allow them to experiment and ask them to take their decisions, to learn new things, learning how to work in the new situation, feeling more positive that this is what the reality is and how we can gain something from this tough situation. And last is acceptance. Sometimes it's also called as integration. That change is integrated, a new, renewed, rejuvenated individual comes out. As we can see, that reasons for accepting or rejecting change, why I have taken a female's face or a strong woman's face, because I believe that women are stepping up the game, because I believe that there is a major role that many females are already performing. If we talk about Prime Minister of New Zealand, if we talk about world's most powerful lady, if we talk about Indra Nooyi, there are examples. If we talk about the current Vice President of the America, Kamala Harris, they are setting up examples of to accept changes and changes and bring changes in the society. And that is why it is a strong role that females are playing and inspiring the new generations to come. So reasons for accepting or rejecting changes, what are these? These are self-explanatory. I'm not going to over elaborate them, but definitely the color, the flying colors of empowerment, emancipation, freedom, or I would say kicking the glass ceiling effect is being shown by women in the society. Definitely, I'm not neglecting the male counterparts. They are already playing a great role by supporting the females in order to grow in the capacity that they should or want to grow. So proposed changes is not necessary, proposed change is not feasible, change is not cost effective, proposed change is inconsistent, determining what to change, understanding system dynamics. And these are some of the aspects that sometimes we are not comfortable at, sometimes we don't want to talk about, sometimes it's not even desirable, but definitely the faster we embrace change, new worlds emerge when patterns get broken. And collective learning and innovation, as you can see, I'm only going to talk about exploration and exploitation, knowledge diffusion and application, learning organizations. I'm sure many of you have already started adopting the culture of learning through online platforms. Now you can sit in South Africa and learn from the UK, right? You can sit somewhere in Australia and take a degree from the US. So the distance is not a barrier anymore. You don't have to cross 7 oceans, right, in order to take your degree. And those degrees are taken for worth nowadays. And that is what is the aspect that I'm going to talk about, that it is also important for the leaders to have that internal creation of new knowledge. Allow people to experiment, allow people to participate, allow people to ask questions. When knowledge diffusion is there, you start applying with whatever people have experimented, performed, and proved. In terms of exploration, it's invention of new products, it's invention of absolutely new services, and exploitation is in those services, right? Or in those existing products. What are the changes that you are bringing in order to entice new customers, or in order to entice existing customers as well? So yeah, both exploration and exploitation is extremely important, and that shows continuous changes in the organization. That is what a leader's role is too, right? To keep on not only encouraging changes, but also infusing enthusiasm in people's minds and hearts that changes are or change is inevitable, and leaders are the one that needs and that has to, right, or that have to help employees to embrace change. Before I end, it is extremely important again that I share some data with you. Though I said that it's easy, it sounds easy to bring changes, it's a very, very tough, because people have frozen minds. Sometimes people have worked for years and years together, and too many changes also bring change fatigue. McDonald Gagan surveyed participants at the Conference Board's 2018 annual conference on change and transformation, and they say that they found that more than half of the change management and business transformation leaders consider change fatigue their biggest frustration. As you can see, navigating change fatigue is 51.25%. That means half of the leaders or the CEOs or top-notch employees of the organization gets tired, right, of bringing changes, and sometimes those are not even successful. Aligning priorities to support transformation is again the biggest a challenge, because life is not free of challenges, nor is practicing change management or bringing change in leadership style. Generating and sustaining momentum, because people are used to of one style, one culture, one philosophy. Bringing change is not easy. The biggest challenge I anticipate in driving business transformation over the next years, that employees may get disengaged after some time, that this is what they could do, no more changes, nothing extra that they can do. And that's why upskilling is the key. That is why reskilling is the key. So yeah, these are some of the challenges, as you can see, and change is constant. As you can see by Gartner, this data was done, this survey was done, and communication leaders report managing change fatigue as their top mission critical priority for 2019. Again, this data is also in alignment with what I said exactly in 2018 as well. 50%, that means half of the employees, half of the task, half of the challenge is to fight employee change fatigue. And then audience information overload. Every day there's change, every day there's a new platform, every day there's something new. You were used to of WhatsApp, right? Now it's Signal, now it's Telegram. So and almost each platform giving us the same services. So definitely people are overloaded. People have a limited capacity. How do we extract the best out of them is the challenge. 73% of change affected employees report experiencing moderate to high stress levels, and those suffering from change related stress perform 5% worse than the average employees. So that is why definitely this is not to demotivate, but it's the real picture that talking of implementing or practicing change seems to be easy, but there has to be a lot of work, a lot of leadership development, right? And evolving yourself as a leader that not only talks about the vision, but also talks about the voice and value of bringing changes to the employees, help them to help employees, and also to save them from change fatigue. So this was it, guys. Should you like this video? Should you feel that I must bring more in terms of bringing leadership qualities, behaviors, theories, and models in my next videos? That would encourage me if you could kindly subscribe or like or share this video. These are my details. As you can see, you can put your comments. If you have any questions, you can put your comments down there, or you can write me an email. I would really be pleased to answer your questions. Keep on doing whatever you are doing in your best possible way, and see you again in my next video. Bye-bye. Take care.